Hi, it's Sheridan Webb here from the Training Designers Club, which is the place to go for practical L&D support. And today I'm attempting to answer a question that came up in our free Facebook group. And it's a challenging one, not because I don't know the answer, but because it's difficult to give a succinct reply. It's very tempting for me when I start to think about it to basically go through the whole of the How to Plan a Training Session online course, or at least the design training in 6 simple steps. But I'm going to try and just give you a flavour of that and hopefully go some way to answering the question, where do you begin when you are designing training? So the first thing is be clear on your outcome. What is the aim of your training session? Try and get that articulated in one compelling sentence. The next thing is to understand your audience and what is their starting point? What's their motivation? What do they hope to get out of this? Because we need to be able to pitch the training at the right level. Obviously, it's a very different approach if you're training a bunch of experts as opposed to if you're giving an overview for complete beginners. So having those two things in your mind, my next piece of advice is if you've got time, go and explore. Just now you've got those things in the front of your mind, talk to people, watch things, read things, do a bit of an internet search. Just start gathering your resources and letting your brain go where it needs to go with this endpoint in mind. Once we've done that, we do not open PowerPoint. I've said this very many times. PowerPoint is not where we go next. What you do next is you jot down all of your ideas. 2 common ways to do this, and I've sense checked this in our VIP community, is you either draw a mind map of all your ideas with your topic or your aim in the center and just branch out all of the different things that you're thinking about, all of the things that you think you might cover, or get a pad of post-it notes and write everything down on post-it notes and just empty your brain. From then, you also need to think about not just the content, but also roughly the types of exercises that you might need to do, because that will shape your training session. Is this going to be something where we're going to be doing a lot of practice? Is it a course where we're going to be doing a lot of quizzes, for example? Are we going to be watching experts do something? Are we going to be learning from the knowledge in the room? So think about those things as well. That will be driven partly by the ultimate outcome and the starting point of your participants. So once you've got all of these ideas out, either in a mind map or on a load of post-it notes, that's when you need to start to refine it. So go through, refine, edit, prioritize all of your content, because you will have too much. No question about it. There'll be far too much for you to cover on that. So we do a little bit of a pruning job, and remember, keeping in mind, what's the outcome? What's the starting point? This is not about you showcasing your knowledge. It's not about you giving people everything they could possibly ever want to know, because you're just going to overwhelm them. So keep that forefront of mind, really. What is that single most important aim? Once you've done that, once you've pruned your content, I think then that's a good point to draft some learning objectives. Now, learning objectives aren't so much for the participants, they're more for you as a designer to help you actually structure and put your course together. But it is this is a good place to just draft those out and think, well, am I going to be covering the right sorts of things in order to achieve that overall aim? Once you've done that, I would recommend then drawing out the flow. What's the flow of this course going to be? Where are you going to start? How are you going to start it? Which topics are you going to cover and in which order? It may just be a very simple flow chart, or you may be rearranging your post-it notes, however you need to do it. And then, guess what? We refine, we prioritize, and we edit again. Because when you look at that flow, and you realise that actually I've been given 3 hours to cover this, you've almost certainly included way too much. So go back again. What's nice to have and what's essential? And I know it's difficult, particularly if you're passionate about your topic, but we do have to really focus on almost what's the minimum viable product. So give people just what they need, and you can perhaps include other things as a follow-up course or as independent learning or lots of different ways of doing it. From that point, I would then create a one-page outline. That would be my blueprint to help me with the detailed design or to get sign-off from a stakeholder before I then start with the session plan, and still not PowerPoint. So if you want to know more about the whole design process, do check out the Training Designers Club, which is www.trainingdesignersclub.co.uk, and in particular, the online courses. I've already mentioned them. There's design training in 6 simple steps and how to plan a training session. Also on the website, on our resources page, there are some low-cost downloadable guides that might also give you just what you need if you want to increase your confidence at designing training. So I hope you found that useful, and thanks for listening.